Virtues of Al-Quran, Part A. Rules of Reverence for Reading Al-Quran. After cleaning the teeth with miswak, natural toothbrush, and making wudu, the ablutions, one should sit in a quiet place with grace and humility, face towards the Qibla. Facing Mecca is usually, for a lot of us, it's you got to face some degree of north because that's a shorter direction rather than southeast or but as precise as you can, right? Then, with an attentive heart, deep devotion, and zest befitting the occasion, one should recite, imagining all the time that he's reciting it to Almighty Allah. If one understands the meaning, one should pause and reflect on ayat of reward and rahmah, and should beg for his forgiveness and compassion. On reciting ayat of punishment and admonition, one should seek his refuge, as, except him, there is no helper. On ayat pertaining to his majesty and sanctity, one should say, Subhanallah. If one does not spontaneously shed tears while reciting the book, one should induce oneself to weep a little. And that can be done through certain techniques, right? Of sound and breathing and such like this that you really get into the text. Wa'alavu halatel garamel. Imugrime shakwa al habibe belmadma el murak. For a lover, the moments of greatest pleasure are those when, in the presence of his beloved, he is full of self-reproach and shedding tears profusely. I'm not sure what language that is, whether that's an Arabic poem or whatever. One should not read too fast unless one desires to memorize it. And then when you memorize it, you want to slow it down. Reciting in 8 hours is probably not the best contemplative practice. The Quran should be placed in a slightly elevated position on a wooden stand or pillow. One should not talk to others during recitation. If one is forced by necessity to speak to someone, it should be done after the first closing of the book. One should recite ta'awudh before reading again. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Some formula like that. Fasta'idh billahi minash shaitanir rajim. There's a couple others in Al-Quran. If people nearby are occupied in their work, reading in a low tone is desirable. You could drop it to a decibel and still be out loud. Otherwise, reading with intonation is more rewarding. Scholars have mentioned 6 external and 6 internal rules of reverence for reading Al-Quran, which are given below. The rules of reverence: perform wudu, and then sit facing Qibla in a respective manner. Do not read hurriedly, but read slowly with correct pronunciation. Try to weep, even if you have to pretend to do so. The response to ayat of rahmah, or of punishment, should be as explained above. Reading should be in a low voice if sincerity is apprehended on your own part or disturbance is caused to others. Otherwise, read with an intoned voice. Read in a melodious voice, because there are numerous ahadith laying emphasis on this. And of course, this does not mean that you have to do as some people have done and translated the Quran into a series of 30 notes. The people of music, I would presume they translated the whole thing into musical scales, or a musical scale at the very least. Rules of internal reverence. The heart should be full of the glory of Al-Quran, realizing how sublime it is, bear in mind the loftiness, majesty, and magnificence of Almighty Allah, whose revealed word, the Quran, is. The heart should be free of distraction and doubts. Dwell upon the meanings and enjoy reading it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once spent the whole night reading over and over again the following ayat. Into on them who banahum ebaduka wa tangfir lahum fannaka antal azizul hakim. From Surah 5, 818, If thou shalt chastise them, they are thy servants, and if thou shalt forgive them, thou art the mighty, the wise. Once, Sa'id ibn Jubair, rahmata alayhi, spent the whole night repeating the following ayat. وَمُتَارُ يَمَّا وَالْمُجْرِمُونَ. And withdraw aside today, O guilty ones. Surah 36, 859. Submit your heart to the subject matter of the verses you're reading. For instance, on ayat containing a message of rahmah, the heart should be filled with delight. And on ayat of punishment, the heart should tremble with awe. The ears should be made as attentive as if Almighty Allah Himself is speaking and the reader is listening to Him. May Allah, out of His rahmah, mercy and kindness, grant all of us the ability to read Al-Quran according to these rules of reverence. And I think I didn't read the poem too well, but the rest seems fine. Rahmah is related to the word for womb, something like that. But think of this as, sort of the response. It kind of makes you immune to the evil magic. Sihr is the Arabic word meaning, just like in the Egyptian, playing with the heat, trickery, evil magic, working with the jinn, as people would call jinn magic. It's like what magic is supposed to be, working with shaitan and all jinn. But in the ancient Egyptian, for the external reference, sihr, but sahr, with the shepherd's crook instead of the bolt, was the internal. So they had two words for the same thing. And in the Aramea, you'd have the suture, the tying the thorn to the head is what it would be called.